In less than 20 years, filmmakers have developed CG animation to become realistic while being modeled after an actor's performance. The example I chose to study for my individual mocap response paper was one of these performances, Steven Spielberg's 2011 The Adventures of Tintin film. In 1981, while filming Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, someone approached Steven Spielberg saying his movie reminded him of the Tintin comics. Spielberg acquired a copy and fell in love with the way the comics were presented. He met with the creator Hergé over the phone several times, and was on his way to meet him in person when the artist died before he could arrive. Hergé's wife, Fanny, gave the rights to Spielberg in retrospect of hearing her husband's praise of him. Hergé believed that Spielberg was the only filmmaker who could do Tintin justice. On January 26, 2009, principal photography began with a crew of around 50 and finished after 32 days of shooting. The motion capture stage is about 20 feet by 20 feet with one entire wall taken up by what is called the brain box, 4 rows of computers for the stages of various system operators, and they feed what's taken by the cameras into a monitor. The brain box also contained a side part called Pantaray. It helped improve the indoor lighting to capture better performances. The rest of the room contains what is called the volume. The volume is an area of the room covered by the active cameras and all of the props made out of aluminum wire and mesh, as well as in-space monitors which showed low-resolution setups of the characters in Autodesk Maya 3D. Spielberg was quoted to say,
I had a little, like a game controller in my hand with a TV screen with a button where I could crane up and down just with my thumb. Another button I could dolly right and left just with my other thumb.
The computers didn't detect me because I wasn't wearing a motion capture suit. I was invisible to everyone except the actors, and I'd be able to look up and see Andy Serkis and Jamie Bell, and then, with a flick of my eye, I could look down at this little 6-inch color screen, and I'd see Captain Haddock and Tintin with this entire virtual world. And when I take 4 or 5 steps with this controller, the whole world speeds past me as I move down on the street to find angles and make choices about compositions, pick the close-ups, and the master shots. Finally, with filming done, the movie was taken into post-production. The artist Stat Weta spent between 4 and 5 hours per frame, and there are 24 frames a second and 93 minutes of footage. As you can imagine, it was quite a long and arduous task. However, the film's creators were very excited with the film's progress. Jackson said, "It's very striking with this film in particular. Just the thought of seeing Tintin on the big screen in 3D makes me feel like a kid again." Finally, on December 23, 2011, the movie was released to the public. With this new way of doing mocap, audiences gave their opinions. I have loved this movie since I first watched it in the 4th grade, and I believe it shows the possibilities of what motion capture can hold. Mocap was the perfect way to translate Hergé's clear-line style of art into the movies. I believe that with the steps we are taking with motion capture and the examples of recent characters such as Thanos, Caesar, and Tintin, that the future of motion capture looks bright, with a lot of steps left to come.